Good morning there. Today we are podcasting from New York City, NYC. Well, actually this evening it's a little dark out as you can see. Yeah. The Empire State City in the background, and we are podcasting for you this morning. Welcome. It's Saturday, October 17th. Time to get up, guys. Time to get up. Get a move on. Sun is rising in the east, and but it's still dark here in New York City. I'm not sure how that happens, but welcome to the podcast this morning. And we're rocking and rolling. I hope you guys are getting ready for a good weekend and got lots planned. I know I've got a lot planned today. Gonna go out and do some on-location filming once I finish this podcast. So we're going to be venturing out today a little bit, and I think we're gonna head out in Land Cruiser number 2. Gonna leave the convertible in the garage and gonna try putting some miles on number 2 and give it a little workout. It hasn't gotten many miles lately, so we're gonna take it out and maybe give it a wash and do some filming. We'll be heading out to Schaumburg. We're gonna be doing some shooting at the old Motorola Center property, which has been redeveloped, kind of like a new downtown Schaumburg type of feel that they're attempting to do. It's 130 acres that used to be called Motorola Center and owned by Motorola, and several years ago when they made the move downtown to the Merchandise Mart for most of their offices, they still have at least one office building there, and they actually own some of the other buildings that are being leased out to other companies, but they have their corporate headquarters there, and but most of their offices are now downtown. So they are, that property was sold to a developer. The developer, is doing kind of some mixed land use development there, and hoping to breathe some new life into that. It's a beautiful property. It's always was beautiful. It's a huge, expansive property there that was owned by Motorola for many years when they moved out of the city of Chicago. Probably back in the 60s or 50s. I'm not sure exactly the date, but that's where I'll be heading. They just built some apartments there that are up for lease, and I'm going to be shooting that. They're also gonna, I'm gonna double check here. Whoa. Okay, make sure we're looking okay. So, they got some apartment buildings ready for lease, and they also have Top Golf that they built. So I don't know if it's up and running, but it's mixed emotions about it, because it's sad at one point, because where the Top Golf is at was the location was the Motorola Museum and Galvin Center for Education, named after the founding family, which ran the company for 3 generations until the early 2000s. So that the museum and the education center was built when I was working for them, pretty much. Probably like in early 90s, and they just tore it down. It was a beautiful building, and they had a nice they had the museum there with some nice displays for for grade school and high school kids come learn about technology and stuff, and they just tore it down and put up a Top Golf. So if that's progress, well, that's what they did. So we'll be shooting some video there today, and I'm sure it's going to be kind of emotional because I spent about 10 years of my life working for that company, and before they had their major downfall. Although I still do have, as a commercial here, I do have a Motorola phone. They're still in business. I believe they were bought out by some Chinese company, and I was able to pick up this phone a couple of years ago for like $250. So it's doing well. I mean, it's not an iPhone, but it's a smartphone, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper than an iPhone. So give them a look. Give them a look if you're looking for a new cell phone. You don't really care about having the hottest new thing. Some people like it that way, some don't. But so that's a little commercial for Motorola phones. Yeah, they used to have like a huge market share, at least like 40%. It was them and Nokia. And then BlackBerry came into the picture, and to give you a little background story too. If you do some research, you'll find out that in right whenever the iPhone came out, Motorola and Apple had a joint venture that was brought together for 9 months, and they were supposed to come up with a new phone. And it lasted for about 9 months, and then it was dissolved. And I think it was right around 2000, 1999, 2000. And then like 6 months later, the iPhone came out. So kind of run that through your noodle a little bit, and wonder where Motorola whoever made that decision or decided to get out. Yeah, that was a poor decision. Look where they could be. If I was a bug on the wall in those meetings, and I can imagine the engineers at Motorola were more of a hardware type of guys. They like to build nice radios and cell phones, and it was all about the engineering and durability and ergonomics and software. Not so much. I mean, if you look at an iPhone, I mean, it's just a rectangle and not very beautiful, and just doesn't look well, right? It doesn't look like it's going to last. And I'm sure that the Motorola engineers and the Apple engineers had many tense moments fighting for their various perspectives of what a product should look like and feel like and operate. And maybe that led to their dissolution of their joint venture, and pow, there you have the iPhone. So there we'll be heading to Motorola. I can give you a little history there. I mean, when I was there, Motorola had 160,000 employees worldwide. They had 3 data centers. They had one in the building where I was working in Schaumburg, a little 2-story building there. It's still there. I don't know if it's being used as a data center still, but it was an old warehouse that they converted into a data center and office space. When was that? Like in 1995. They also had a data center in Phoenix, Arizona, and then one in Asia somewhere, I believe, like Hong Kong or something. So yeah, I'm sure they don't have all those. I know that they actually got rid of the Arizona data center at some point. I think they merged it in with the Schaumburg one, but they also had like 4 different divisions at that time. They had land mobile product sectors, which was called Lumps, LMPS, which was right there in Schaumburg. There's still a 6-story building there today. And there was a huge 2-story building that went for like about 2 blocks. It was huge. It was office space. It was manufacturing space. It was probably, I don't know, 1 million square feet or more. And they just tore that down late last year. Huge effort. I mean, it was a huge building. You could walk for 5 minutes to get to the end of it, and I did that many times. So kind of sad to see that gone. They also had a semiconductor division out in Phoenix that was headquartered there. They actually made semiconductors. They had maybe 1 or 2 buildings in Austin, Texas. They call them fabs, I guess, to make silicon wafers and stuff. And they did that. And then they also out in Arizona, Phoenix, they had the Government Electronics Group, where they did a lot of work for the government. Radios for the military and communications, and who knows what else. But when I was there, Bob Galvin, the second generation, God bless his soul, his vision was that the military people would be able to pretty much wear a computer, and that would be their communication device. And that's how they came up with what they called the era of the personal communicator in the mid to late 90s. He envisioned that a radio wouldn't be something that you carry. It would be kind of like incorporated into the military man's uniform. And I think they're pretty close to doing that today. I haven't really kept up on all the where they're at, but it seems like the communications are an integral part in every military man's equipment today, not just like the leaders. So I think his vision has been realized to some extent, and that's good, because he passed away maybe 10 years ago. He was a smart guy and very personable. He worked in the corporate tower that's still there in Schaumburg, a 12-story building, up until his, early to mid 80s, I believe. He was still working as a chairman. He gave up the CEO prior to that, but he was still the chairman of the company, and he would show up every day with his in his limo. He had a driver, and he would walk all the way to the top of that tower, 12 stories, when he came to work. And they actually were scared about it, or were a little apprehensive. So they would, when I was there, I was still working in that tower at that time. They actually put telephones. They hardwired the stairwell 12 stories and I think they had a telephone on every other landing. In case he needed any help or anything, he would be able to reach someone. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, he enjoyed walking those stairs every morning to get to his office on the top floor. So yeah, he's a great guy. And one of their traditions there around Thanksgiving, which is coming up here pretty soon, was they would have a free employee lunch around Thanksgiving every year, and all the vice presidents and big wigs were required, and including Bob. Bob would be there in the cafeteria with the rest of the vice presidents and the big wigs, and they would be standing at the checkout line, and they would ask you what kind of pie you wanted to finish off your lunch, and they would get that for you and place it on your tray and wish you a happy holiday. They all had on aprons and stuff, and their ties and what have you at that time. But he was there with all of his minions, or his co-workers, vice presidents, and executives, and doing the duty. He was the owner of the company. He's handing out pie to employees. Every year he did that. Another tradition he also had too is around Christmas time, back when they had Christmas, right? He would go down every floor of that corporate tower that's right on Route 90 there in Schaumburg, still there today, 12 stories. He'd go down every story and shake everyone's hand at your desk. He would come to your desk, and they kind of would tell you what day it was going to be, so you kind of stick close to your desk. And he'd come around and thank you for your effort and what you did for the company and how he appreciated it. And it was a nice gesture to see. I mean, probably a multi-billionaire, if not more, at that point, going around and appreciating the people. So, I'll be doing some video taping there and bring you guys a video about that in the not so distant future. But today we're here. Hey, we're in the Big Apple, which has been ravaged by the Cuomos and de Blasio, and tough times for NYC. And let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, is it just New York City? I don't think so. As we know, it's Democratic-run cities that are being run into the ground. It's Chicago. It's San Francisco. It's Minneapolis, which was kind of not necessarily run into the ground, it was burned into the ground. But, it was places where, I don't know, the thought process of the people running these cities just doesn't seem to be valid anymore. And if you look at Chicago has been under Democratic rule for decades, 40, 50 years, maybe even longer. And look where it's at. Schools are pathetic. The crime is rising. Gangs are everywhere. It's just not like it used, or it's just not a nice place to be. I mean, the people are being taxed out of the city. I know in Chicago they water fees. So if you're a homeowner in the city of Chicago, the amount of money you need to pay for having water in your house varies depending on the value of your house. So think about that. That would be like going to the grocery store and having your groceries charged or priced by your income, pretty much. And that's what Chicago is doing right now. In the last 5 to 6 years, there was a change brought in by Rahm Emanuel. So if your house, I think it's not really a scale. I mean, it's kind of cut and dried. It's like if your house is less than $250,000, you pay so much per gallon or whatever they charge by. And if your house is worth more than $250,000, you pay a different rate. So they're charging people different rates for the same product, and the water's no different one house to another, even though you're paying more or less depending on how much your house is worth. So kind of crazy, but that's how Chicago has come to to tax people. I mean, it's pretty much an income tax at that point, if you ask me. But here in the suburbs, we all pay the same amounts. If you use a lot of water, you pay a lot. If you use a little, you pay a little. So, and that's pretty much how democracy should work, but not in Chicago. Not in Chicago, guys. So, that's the type of thinking that a lot of these democratic cities have kind of pigeonholed themselves into, because they hate to stop spending. They just spend, and don't think about, maybe not spending or cutting back on spending or doing without. They don't like to tell their citizens that they can't pay for anything anymore. They can't provide something in hopes of providing something else which is of more value. So that's where we're at with a lot of these democratic cities, and I think the camel's back is the point where it's about to be broken with the pandemic. I know we talked about in the last video where our state of Illinois has gotten a loan from the Fed, first one to do that, because they can't find anybody to loan them any money anymore because their credit rating is so poor. But still, there's no banking or investment company that's willing to loan them money. So, the state of Illinois is in dire straits. I would suspect too. I did hear that not necessarily the city took out a loan, but the New York City, and that's why we're here. That's why we're here today. The other entity that got a Fed loan was the MTA of New York, the transportation subway system of New York, because they ran out of money, or in the process of running out of money. Their ridership is down. I heard last night in Chicago, Metra, which is government subsidized, and their ridership right now, according with the report I heard last night, is down 90%. 90. So 10% of the people that used to use it are using it now. That's what that means. 90% are not showing up. And we live close to a Metra parking lot, and I've been by there in the last 2 months and recently and during the week, and their parking lot will hold like 600 cars, and you're lucky if there's 15 or 20 there on a given weekday. So that's what the pandemic has done, and that translates into dollars, my folks, because that was all revenue. When you ride a train, you pay your $5 to $7 each way, and that goes to paying for all the infrastructure, the trains, the salaries, and the people that are working there. But now they're still running the trains, and I'm not sure they've cut back on their schedules, but they're still running the trains, and they're just empty. And that same thing happened in New York City. I think I did hear that New York kind of adjusted some of their subway schedules, but I'm sure they're still running a pretty full schedule. And the trains are running around pretty much empty because people don't want to go into the subway for fear of getting COVID, and I sympathize with that, and that's a valid fear to have, because the number of people that potentially could come in contact with the surface on a given day of the use of a subway is immense, and if if you're the guy that comes into the subway car, 10 o'clock at night, can you imagine how many people have touched that surface that you now just put your hands on? And the possibility that they were sick with something and they're now passing it on to you. So that's the reason why a lot of people are staying out of subways and trains and hoping for a vaccine. So that's a little bit about New York and Chicago and their financial dire straits, folks. And that's where we're at. As you can see behind me, it's a little dark here in New York in more than one way. And, let me take a stretch. I'll do my chair yoga here. Yeah, or Pilates or whatever you want to call it. It's early. It's Saturday, 10/17, and it is almost 8 a.m. in Chicago. The sun is coming up. But I'm in New York, so it doesn't make a difference. So looks like it's still a little dark here in New York. And we are Land Cruiser Midwest. Like, share, subscribe, guys, and enjoy our channel and all we bring you. And thought today I would just kind of drop on and do a quick podcast about what's going on here and where we're headed today, and bring you some updates on that, and let you look at the beautiful New York City skyline. And actually, there's some people here with me. Hi guys, how you doing? Wave. They don't want to wave. I don't know. They're kind of ignoring me. Hi guys. So yesterday I was down by the river. Today I'm in New York. Down by the river there wasn't anybody hanging out with me, but you can see here there's several folks hanging out with me, enjoying the sights of the city. So that's that. What else can we talk about? Well, I'm working on some special guests. It's hard to find anybody that wants to take the leap into YouTubeville and put their mug on this channel for some reason, besides myself. I am the only one that has the audacity and the courage to get out here every day and make a fool of himself. So I'm working on bringing you some special guests in the near future. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. I've identified some victims, and I am eagerly trying to coax them into doing a quick podcast with me. But we'll see how that goes. There's some more negotiations that need to occur, and we'll go from there. Now, if my channel was blowing up and viral at this point, I think it would be maybe a different situation. They would probably be chomping at the bit to get on here and partake in the privilege and the popularity. But we're just a small struggling channel right now, trying to get our feet underneath us, and I hope you guys are enjoying it, because it's fun, and I'm learning a lot. And as I look at other folks on YouTube, I'm finding out it all takes time, and no matter how good you are, there's a learning process. But still, the way YouTube is structured, it just takes some time before they get your channel out there and start publicizing it and getting your audience growing for you. But hopefully in time we'll be there, and in the meantime we're we're producing some content and we're learning a lot. There is a lot to learn. Videos versus podcast is kind of two different animals. So you just can't learn one and think you can do them both. They all have their own little special nuances and different software, and we went in full feet first, and without a life jacket. So we're swimming, we're swimming and trying to stay afloat here, but it's all good. It's all good at this point, and I hope you guys are enjoying the journey as we head down the YouTube path. So that's where we're at with this channel. And like I said, we got Land Cruiser Midwest, and we also have another channel, which is the Life of Charlie the Cat. So there's actually two channels out there. You should be able to see some different types of videos. One's about one of our cats called Charlie, and we kind of follow him around and bring you a cat eye perspective of life and what he does on a daily basis. And he was here not too long ago, and he was once again. He enjoys stepping on my computer and putting it into different types of modes that just baffle me. And he also likes to fight with my video camera. This is my video camera that I use for bringing all my videos to you. It's a DJI Pocket Osmo. Cool little camera, kind of weird looking, and he kind of thinks it's weird too. He likes to bite on this little end here, which is probably the heart of the camera, and that's where the actual lens and the camera is at, and he just wants to eat on it and chew on it. And there's a few videos recently where he just kind of batting it left and right. He wants to go after it. He just does not like that camera looking at him for some reason. So check out his channel. You'll see some examples where he comes after me and tries to take the camera out of my hands, more so than not. So, well, it is after 8. I've been streaming for over a half hour. I'm gonna end it here and get ready to head out on my excursion today. So I hope you guys are having a good day, and I hope we took you somewhere, not to nowhere today, and you enjoyed it. And look at the beautiful city here in New York City. Thankfully, it's not smell vision, so you can't smell the garbage that's rotting in the streets, but it looks beautiful, doesn't it? It may not be that beautiful, but we can only hope and dream. So over and out. We are out. Ho! Land Cruiser Midwest. Over and out.